What is up, wrestling fans? Welcome to episode number 438 of the Smark Moment Smack Talk podcast, Hot Tags of the Week, where we'll be breaking down some of the current events, rumors, news, gossip, and God knows what else in the world of professional wrestling that has happened over the past few days. I am your host, as always, Tony Mango, and joining me, as always, is Robert DeFelice.
438. That's great,
Uh,
mate.
439, just in time for next week. Yeah, how y'all doing all out there in audience land? Drop a comment below. Tell us what's up. Tell us your thoughts on everything that we're going to be talking about here. If you obviously are in a location that you can't leave a comment, like Spotify or Stitcher or Siberia or something like that, then hop on over to the YouTube channel.
Are
And
you
while
saying
you're
that the good people in Siberia are...
You know, what's funny, side note, I had a dream the other night that I was trying to order pizza and that I was ordering from a place called Two Pizzas and only ordered one pizza. But then I ordered another pizza from another place and it was called Siberia Pizza. And I remember in the dream being like, well, I heard that that's good. So if you are from Siberia, let us know how your pizza is. Maybe my dream was kind of prophetic. But you can't if you can't leave a comment and if Siberia ends up being the case. But you can on YouTube, and YouTube also has the whole notification bell that you should ring to be aware of when we post videos and when we go live on different things. You should also subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that already. Give us a like on the video too, because that helps out quite a bit. We've got a lot of hot tags to talk about here, but a lot of it's all over the place and random, so forgive us for jumping around a lot of different topics here. I guess I want to start off with the simplest thing for us to say, which is WWE Break It Down Ricochet, which was one of their network specials of the week. I found myself paying very little attention to it, and it's not a matter of like, oh, Ricochet's boring or something like that, because I like Ricochet, but I'm not a big fan of this Break It Down thing. I've seen a couple episodes now, and it just doesn't really do it for me. So I'd personally say skip it.
It's good content for what I do. It's Ricochet said this about being super kicked in the face by Adam Cole while being upside down.
Right.
But, if you're one of those people who loves everything WWE and you're going to watch it, just enjoy. But I say skip it.
Yeah, it's not the most engaging special that they've ever had. It's certainly no, like, WWE 24 Edge or something like that. It's basically something that reads more as a YouTube video. That's not disparaging for YouTube because I'm on YouTube, but there's a difference between the different content that you put out there for YouTube and the different content you put out there for the WWE network. This whole break it down thing doesn't really do it for me when it comes to that. YouTube thing though, I think that it would be a good little side thing, kind of like almost as if they did the opposite when it comes to one of the other things to talk about, which is Superstar Home Cooking, I think it was called, or Superstar Home Baking. It was Candice, LeRae, and Tegan Knox.
That's the one I sent you because I was like, wow, Tegan Knox is pretty. And that was my takeaway from it. I mean, it was a cute little video,
See, that struck me more as something that should be on the network. And I didn't like that one either. I skipped that one too. But that kind of felt to me more like they should have put a little bit more behind it and that it could have been more of a network thing than the break it down thing. You know what I mean?
I think break it down, like WWE, they want to do cool things that go behind the scenes, and then they're like, yeah, nah, let's just keep it simple and really lame, and we won't do anything special.
Yeah. Well, I got a feeling that the Superstar Home Cooking thing was like a test run. But I don't know why they would have chosen that to be the thing. Like, I don't even know what they
just
made.
likes to bake.
Well, like, I would have figured that they would have baked something, a little bit more grandiose than whatever it was. I don't like. What did they make? It was some kind of a jelly thing or something. I forget. Oh, it was panna cotta. That's what it was. So it's like,
you a fan of panna cotta?
I actually don't even know if I've ever had it. I know it's not like the most visually pleasing type of like, okay, we made like a Thanksgiving dinner type of thing, and this is how you do this. And like I've watched cooking shows before, and I'm a big fan of like Binging with Babish, for instance.
Oh, the best YouTube channel.
That's so good. Ever since I saw that one he did recently about the ice cream sandwiches, I'm like, I gotta make some waffles. Yeah, just sort of go check out Benching with
What?
Babbage, everybody. There's a good
Yeah, one day
recommendation.
we'll do a dark cast where it's just us talking about binging with Babish.
Right. So those were the two network type things or offshoot type things. I don't think that there was anything else they put out this week, right? Or did I like just
Uh,
completely forget about it?
there is, but they came out today, so I think we should save them for next week. And they're like a lot of Triple H specials. Like Triple H has a sit down interview with Lemmy from Motorhead, and Triple H, um, the best of 25 years, because they're doing a lot with the 25 years of Triple H.
Hmm.
So we can do that next week, I think.
Yeah, we'll talk about the 25-year thing with the SmackDown in a little bit too. Maybe we get into this thing a little bit. This is a little bit all over the place here, but I guess I'm going to just toss this one out here. Vince McMahon is being sued by former XFL Commissioner Oliver Luck, and it's a wrongful termination lawsuit. He
Yes.
alleges that, and it seems like he's pretty solid with this allegation that he was wrongfully terminated in the sense that his contract had a clause in there about not being released based off of like the um dependency on the league staying true. And if he would have been fired with any kind of situation like that, that he would be entitled to that money, and he wants that money. There's a lot that goes along with this too, though. And in some ways, this sort of ties into something that Rob knows even more about than I do because he's done more research with it. But this whole call that Vince McMahon was on, uh, there's a lot to unpack. I don't even know where we should jump in with that. Because at least with the XFL story, we know that it seems like it's kind of more along the lines of the more you dig, the more it seems like Vince sort of set up a lot of shady things that I don't even know. Maybe it isn't. I'm not a business person that understands that kind of stuff, but it just kind of feels that way to me, you know?
Well, with the XFL thing, I think Oliver Luck has a great case. People are saying, "Oh, there's nothing there." I, well, let me rephrase this. I do many podcasts. I don't think that you'll say the same thing that some of my other podcast hosts say because you're not as determined to put a positive spin on things. I think Oliver Luck has a case here, and I think throughout the course of this lawsuit, we're going to hear some shit about the way things are structured or were structured with the XFL and potentially the structure of WWE.
Hmm.
That's about all I can give you on that. I haven't been following that too closely. But this investor call, I could talk to you about for 3 hours.
Well, part of this ties in with that in a weird way with the investor call because we do know that there's been that was that lawsuit about the whole whether or not WWE and XFL are tied in together and everything. And one of these weird things that's come out about this whole Oliver Luck thing and some of the offshoots with all that is maybe I'm not understanding this correctly. And if I'm not and anybody else understands better, drop a comment below and clarify it to me. I'm not in the interest of being like, I'm not a news reporter, I'm a pundit, that kind of a thing. So don't take my word for fact. Um, it seems like there's this extra little bit of weird stuff that goes along with it where Vince became the top creditor to the XFL, where he loaned the XFL money, and the XFL going down means that Vince is owed money more than other creditors, which sort of seems like you're like doubling up on yourself or something weird. Like,
Well,
can you
there.
loan yourself money essentially? And it's I don't know how that stuff works. I'm not an economist or anything like that too. So that's another thing that it's like maybe that's some just a regular thing. But it's like that sort of seems like maybe if he only lost $44 million out of the 300 million he thought he was going to, but he's actually going to get that back and he protected himself that way, but he didn't leave protection for the employees. Like, I kind of feel like this is all going to be so damn confusing for somebody like me that all I'm gonna get out of it in a couple weeks or a couple months or a couple years or whatever is basically going to be Oliver Luck dropped the lawsuit because there was a settlement out of court.
I can that might be possible.
It seems like that would be the case to me.
From what I understand, they have many people that are owed money. I think it's unfortunate what happened to the XFL. The idea being that Oliver Luck wasn't told until like moments before it was public that they were shutting down. But I think shit happens, you know? I think this COVID thing has changed a lot of things. If you heard Vince McMahon on this investors call, and I know you've been busy, but it's one of those things I would really like you to check out because you get such an insight as to like the things that he sees as important, the things that he just doesn't know anything about or have a shit care about. And you get an insight to how Vince McMahon is viewing the future. Like Vince McMahon said the words, I don't think the old way of live events is ever coming back on
Hmm.
this investor call.
That's
And
weird.
then he quickly changed up and was like, well, we'll see. But the fact that his instinct was to say the old way is not coming back was a little scary. Because, like, you would think Vince is, of course, it's coming back. And there was a lot of that too. There was a lot of like Donald Trumpish, uh, well, if we have to figure out how to test fans before they come in arenas, well, do it first because nobody does things like WWE. A lot of that, but there's also a lot of like, yeah, I don't know if we're talking about SummerSlam here, pal. You know, like
Well, because I got to imagine that at some point when things go back to normal, they're gonna run live events and they're gonna expect to get that big gate and all that stuff. But maybe this is their wake up call as far as being like, maybe we don't do regular live events like house shows. Like maybe that goes under, and maybe
he did say we're not in the live event business anymore.
because they've been losing money on that, you know. Like, that's been going on way before this, pandemic became a talking point, was people
I think
saying, "How's the live event business going?" And they do make like, it's definitive that they make money based off of these things when it comes to, like, they sell more merch at Raw than they would just, on a random Monday on the website or something like that. Like, because people are there, they're gonna wanna buy stuff, like, you go to WrestleMania and people are like, "I gotta get the WrestleMania shirt, and I gotta get the program, and I gotta get this, and I gotta get that." That's the thing that just happens. But how many people are really going out to the Saturday afternoon house show of matches that don't matter? Maybe instead of doing as many live events like that, maybe they do focus more on this idea of the network specials and stuff, you know?
I think first of all, it would be terrible because house shows are special. You know, even if we understand in 2020 that they don't matter, they're special. And I think it sucks for the wrestlers because that's how you get your reps in, you know? That's how you figure out what works. That's how you gel with opponents and things like that.
Yeah.
But Vince McMahon was like, yeah, I don't know if that old way will ever come back. He also said some things about the current state of the product. He talked about the Raw ratings being way off for Q1. And he said, well, listen, we have new characters and new storylines. And he singled this out. And you'll understand my frustration with this verbiage more than anyone. He singly said, we don't have Brock Lesnar anymore. And I laughed because I said, my God, that's the best insight to Vince McMahon I've ever been given. Because think of all the guys you don't have right now: Edge, Orton, AJ, Owens. The list can go on and on. And he just went right to
Brock.
numbers are down because we don't have Brock.
Which is like,
And
hey, you're the one who keeps signing these deals that has Brock not show up. It's your fault, you
but
know?
no, I think he meant like now, like with the current state of tapings because Brock probably doesn't want to travel. But like, I was like, wow, really? That's the best you can do is we don't have Brock right now. Like,
And
I
you
was like,
can't
yeah,
always say, "Well, we don't have Brock, so we are building new characters," and then you're always saying we're building new characters, and then you just don't build them. Like, obviously, to a certain extent, like now people know Angel Garza more than they ever did, but it's like, well, when you at every turn go, yeah, but we're gonna put Goldberg in the mix instead, and those other guys are going to be off the card,
right.
then you keep telling people that they're not actually stars, so then you have to keep rebuilding them. Like, that's self-explanatory here. Come on, Vince, like
They gushed on this investor call about the social hit that WrestleMania was because, hey, WrestleMania was amazing. It was the most social event ever. We did these great numbers and we did great numbers for the network. And then they were asked how many people are actually subscribed to the network. And it was, we don't want to comment on that right now. Like, there was so much of this, like, just fun, wild Vince. Like Vince, they're talking about cleaning before the shows, and he's like, "Yeah, did you hear this part where he's like,
we have a spray that kills things for 120 days or something like that.
no, that's what Triple H said." But Vince goes, "Yeah, we're doing all that, the Clorox 360 and all that," and I was like, "Okay." Vince WWE uses Clorox, and he goes, then he goes away for a while, and he goes, "I got Paul Levesque here. Paul, what's that new thing that you're doing with the cleaning?" And Triple H has to go, yeah, we're partnering with Allied Bioscience, and they have a spray that is supposed to, be like a sword and kill these germs for up to 120 days. But it was just like the wild idea of Vince going, yeah, Clorox 360. Paul, what
That
do we have here? Like,
having not heard it the way that you're explaining it to me, it sounds very much like when you get like an older person that's just like, I wipe that with soap. It's fucking clean. That's what we used to do back in the day. We used lard for everything. Like,
well, it's
okay.
like, it's part of that. Like, there were some parts where, again, he sounded very informed. Like the stuff with him saying, and we're not going to rush to go back to live events, and we want to figure out this, testing, and we're gonna do it because we're WWE, and a lot of it sounded like Vince knew what he was doing, and then you could clearly tell when he fucking didn't. But one thing he did say was, we still have people interested in buying our network, and the bottom fell out on that because of this COVID thing, but that was still on the table.
Huh. I don't know. I don't like that.
And then he said, which was a lot of people's biggest takeaway, it won't be yours, but they confirmed there would be no video game this year.
Well, that is one of the hot tags. No WWE 2K21 in the works. And a couple of people were talking about this kind of idea, and I agree with a lot of their points of view. 2K20, I didn't play it, and I don't play these games, and I'm not planning on doing that anytime soon because I don't like the mechanics, and I just don't see the point. And I'm not a gamer anyway. But a lot of people did not like 2K20, and
I,
somebody had brought it up, and I don't remember if this was in like a group chat that you were in, or if this was like Wago or Payton or whatever. But they were just like, why don't they just release patches and just have additional DLC packs? Like
the
2K20 can have like, we did this patch and we fixed this and we made this better. And now there's for an extra $5, you can get this group of people, and for an extra $10, you can get this mode and whatever. Like, seems like that would make a lot of sense to me, where you wouldn't
I
have to
think
put in the effort for all that, and then you can make 2K22 a much better game.
I think that moving forward, that is a smart way to release wrestling games. The problem is they're contracted to release a game every year. Now, Frank Riddick III, who was the person who answered this question because Vince went, "Why did he just ask?" The investor goes, "Will there be a WWE video game release this year?" And he goes, "Is there a what?" And Frank just goes, I'll take it, Vince. No, there's not a launch of the video game this year. And right now, it's being blamed on COVID because it's not in the budget. But it's a blessing in disguise because 2K20 was fucking broken. Like, it's not even about it being a bad game, bad wrestling game. It just was a broken game. It was not complete. You know, you
Mm.
could argue that the 2K games before that were lazy, but this game was just not finished. Now, Justin Leeper, former writer for SmackDown vs. Raw, had said, I heard from sources at 2K that there won't be a game this year, but there will be a release of a more arcade style game with the same publisher being 2K, but a different developer.
Huh.
We know that on Monday, there will be an announcement at 10 a.m. about the future of WWE games. Right now, I don't see them putting out a brand new IP, but I do see them remastering a WrestleFest or a WrestleMania the arcade game. I
So
think
would that technically constitute another game release and hold them off for a year then?
that would fulfill the contractual obligation of releasing a video game,
That'd be a smart way
and
to
that would
do it
hold
then.
them off for another year. Now, I am very curious because if you haven't noticed, the wrestling video game combination is probably where I thrive the best. I think it's such an interesting world because WWE has released a game every year since 1989, with the exception of 1997. Reason being, Warzone, which is a game I'm sure that you played,
Yeah, that's one of the last ones that I had played.
was if you look at the game, it's based around like mid 97. Brett's in the game, Sean's in the game, the headbangers, Ahmed Johnson, but it doesn't come out until like I think like Kane has already beaten Austin and lost to Austin by the time that game is actually released. Because back in those days, we didn't have patches and development cycles took forever. So 1997 becomes the only year without a console release from WWE. Right now, as it stands, 2020 could become the second year in 31 years without a game release.
Hmm.
That's wild to me. And like, what do? You know, 2K20 doesn't have lasting power. We know that their mobile games are up because that was a note on the call that hey, their mobile games are doing great. You know, Champions and then the other one is up 10% in terms of sales. But what do you do without that release, that outlet? That's gonna disappoint a lot of fans. And you know, I know one person who kept calling me, "Hey, is this true? Is this true? Oh my god, I don't know what I would do without this yearly release." Like that's just for some people that's what they do. Every October, November, they buy the WWE game and that holds them over for a year. I love it. I think you have an opportunity on your hands to do such good things. Don't drop the ball because you can do something really cool and really special here.
So if they remaster those games, have you heard anything of like if that's just a remastering with those characters or if they're gonna make new
I
like
imagine it would be a remaster with new characters. Like in 2012, for example, THQ, when they were still in business, released a remastered version of WrestleFest on iOS. And it had like kind of that era graphics, but with superstars of the day like Sheamus and Kofi, and you know, they had stuff like that. It was supposed to come out on consoles, but it couldn't because they went out of business. You could do a game like that. You could do a game like I know Xavier Woods teased the idea of them releasing a game called Brawl, which is like a Super Smash Brothers kind of game where they all have superpowers.
God, that would be so like so perfect. Like you know, like a Mortal Kombat thing with like the Undertaker and all
You
that.
know,
Like
like that was the idea behind the In Your House games from the 90s. Like, let's just do Mortal Kombat with our guys.
Yeah.
Now, I think anything is good, and I like the idea of an arcade style game. It gets more people interested, and to keep it short and sweet, I'm looking forward to Monday.
I hate, like, I'm not a mobile gamer, especially. You know, if I want to play a video game, I want to play something with a controller. I want to play a console game, or I want to play like, Game Boy back in the day was awesome, that kind of thing. I hate with a passion this idea that there's these games out there now. This has been going on for like a good decade where like we didn't get Avengers games. And this whole thing happened and it was like, how is there no Iron Man game that goes along with Iron Man 2 or Iron Man 3? How is there no um Guardians of the Galaxy video game? Like what the hell? Why are you not doing that? And then it's like, oh, well, there is a game. It's a game where you like collect cards, these digital cards on your phone. I'm like, that's not the same thing. Like these WWE champion games where it's like, oh, you got
You're
this
thinking of
John Cena
Supercard.
card or
You're
whatever.
thinking of
Yeah.
Supercard,
All that crap
because
is so
because like,
dumb to me.
but at least I'll say with their mobile games, they have variety. So they have Supercard that's like that. They have Champions, which is essentially like a Candy Crush, but you get to see your superstars on screen doing the moves.
That
And
seems so blah to me. I hate
then
it.
they have Mayhem, which is on your phone, like an arcade style game. I think you port that to a console, and at least you got something. But we'll have to see. I'm really looking forward to Monday, and I'm hoping that it's not, hey, there's gonna be no 2K21 this year, but don't worry because you can download WWE content in Rocket League. I don't want that. I want like surprise the fuck out of me. Tell me you're remastering No Mercy. Tell me you're remastering uh WrestleFest and you're putting it on consoles next month. Like shock me.
I'd be cool with them replacing that game where it's like, like Doink has the little shock glove
The Joy Buzzer.
and all that. Like, do that, but with the current roster. Just have
Yeah,
like I don't know who you would have with whatever particular things, but what's like a gimmicky type of thing. Like Luger had, I think, like
he had the metal
um
coming out of his arms.
yeah, because of the bionic, not the bionic, the plate and the forearm.
You
So
know
like
that when I was younger, I thought he was just like pulling a pillow out of his hand.
a pillow. He gets into a pillow fight.
Because that's what it looks like. It looks like he just pulled a pillow out of nowhere. I think Sean, for whatever reason, and as I'm older, it doesn't even make any more sense. He had a bat. Like he just,
Yeah,
I didn't get that. Razor, appropriately,
had the
his
razor stuff.
arm turned into a razor.
Undertaker,
Um,
yeah, hit you with the tombstone.
he hit you with the tombstone. He had like the weird aura glow out of his hands. Uh, Brett was the one guy who just like, yeah, he hit you with a headbutt. Like he's just Brett. Yoko threw salt at you because Yoko actually threw salt at people. And of course, Bam Bam jumped from the sky and lit on fire. Always my favorite thing to do.
So like, you just go down the rabbit hole. Like, who could we do things like that with now? Like,
I think Mysterio
Alistair
has to be
Black
in
could
this
do
game.
something.
Aleister Black could do like the occult symbols. Mysterio has to be in this game. Has to
Uh,
do some like weird jumping, flying stuff.
AJ Styles has to do something.
Of course, you throw Hunter in there, and he's got like the sledgehammer and stuff, and the Skull King and all that. Um,
Brock, I don't know about Brock.
so like in the sequel to that, Vader was just he would just turn into like mud because he's from the Rockies. But, like Brock could do that shit. He's kind of a farm boy.
Drew McIntyre could have a big sword,
Yeah,
a
like an
claymore.
actual claymore. Randy Orton could turn into a snake.
Yeah, turn into a snake and strike you. Uh,
We don't have any comedy characters.
Braun Strowman. I don't know about him.
He could literally turn into a monster.
There's
Oh, the
got to
Fiend!
be,
Oh my god!
yeah, there's got to be stuff with Bray Wyatt. Maybe something with Daniel Bryan.
Oh, he could turn into a goat.
Like, they could have fun with this kind of thing, you know, they should. That'd be a
And,
much more
I
interesting way.
think, listen, fans deserve a game that isn't taking itself too seriously, which I think the main problem of the recent 2K games. They take themselves too seriously. So come out with a fun game, make it like Smash Brothers, so it's you're not confined to a horizontal axis. Let you go everywhere, and then have fun. Make games fun again. You know what I mean?
Let's go to actually, let me toss out a plug here. If you want us to talk more about games, and we obviously don't do that on a regular basis on here, but we could potentially do that on fanboysanonymous.com because that's the site for geek culture topics that include video games, but it's also primarily more about the movie and TV show side of things. Comic books as well, sometimes, depending on the circumstances and other miscellaneous things. So check out fanboysanonymous.com because we do have content there. I, of course, always want to do more for that. It just kind of depends on the timing and everything. But another way to make sure that we definitely do more content there or here or anything in particular is the Patreon. Now, patreon.com/fanboysanonymous or patreon.com/smarkoutmoment. If you donate to the $10 or up tiers, you get access to the special Patreon exclusive episodes for either of those. They are the bonus features on Fanboys. They're the dark casts on Smark Out Moment. There's also the Pick Your Poison tier, which one of the things we're going to be doing over the course of the next couple of days, potentially, maybe tomorrow night, is something for fanboys. Marco has suggested a topic of Donnie Darko. So if you're a fan of that, we might do like a fan tracks or something like that. So stay tuned for that. Obviously, subscribe to the YouTube channel over on Fanboys and ring that little notification bell there so that way you know when it's up. But you can do the same thing when it comes to Smart Out Moment, and maybe you want us to do a deep dive onto wrestling video games or something like that, or to actually sit there and figure out what we would do with like Smash Brothers type of things for wrestlers. That could be a fun topic. Pick your poison. We'll do it. That's how it works.
I would
Um,
love that so much.
yeah, it'd be a
You
lot of fun.
should, you should do it. Like, do it, guys.
Let's talk Gronk.
Oh, what a
Rob
weird fucking situation.
Rob Gronkowski, we all know he won the 24/7 championship at WrestleMania. There were originally plans for him to be the host of WrestleMania in a different way. And now that he has signed with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, it seems like we're getting more information about what the original plan was. And it kind of all goes in this direction that WWE more than likely wanted him to announce this in the stadium at WrestleMania. And that would have been a huge media type of thing, a lot of coverage. And there's also stuff going around that they wanted him to wrestle at SummerSlam and that's probably off the table now. But they're also playing into this saying, well, 24/7 title's still got to be defended. And he might have to defend it on the football field and whatever. It's like, this is interesting. I don't know where they're
I
going with
kind
all
of feel
this.
like they had no idea. As much as you would think it's too perfect with, WrestleMania was in Tampa, Rob Gronkowski just decided he's going to play in Tampa. I think they would have done it anyway if they knew. But the fact that they gave him the belt, I don't think they knew.
Well, it's weird that they can't seem to figure out a way to get around doing something with Gronk. Like, I don't know, like he records something at his house. You know what I mean?
Like our truth just pins him at his house.
Right. Yeah. It seems
Our
like that
truth is in his bushes.
like they could do that. Like it can't be that hard, you know?
I imagine it's not.
They're an essential business now.
Yeah, they sure are, Tony.
Uh so
You want speaking of that, I don't know if you have this on your hot tags or not. AEW is returning to a live taping schedule
when are
because
they gonna start that?
May 6th,
Okay.
because wrestling is essential in Florida, Tony.
So
I
weird.
I would like to take a moment, if I may, for all the people who told me I was wasting my life on wrestling. It's
Like I'm
I
an
get
essential
paid.
worker now.
Yeah, I get paid to talk about this, and it's essential. So up yours.
Remember when this first started and I posted a thing on Facebook that just said, like, for all the people that were bitching and complaining about me not having a quote unquote real job because I didn't go to an office to do the exact same thing, and now I'm at home and you were all complaining that you don't want to have to go into your office because you're worried about catching the virus. And I'm like, oh, who's laughing now? Then I'd be like, yeah, who's laughing now? I'm an essential worker.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, what wild shit this is.
Very strange. I don't understand it. 2020, man. All over the place. And I guess we should talk about this if we're talking 2020 being all over the place. We can't talk much about it, but Velveteen Dream.
Okay, so
So
there's a
it's
story going around
tricky.
Instagram.
Yeah, it's
I
tricky to
I, I could
navigate this because I'm not sure exactly what
I could do this real
YouTube's
quick,
what
Tony.
the algorithm and all that with YouTube and monetization is. I don't know exactly what. That's why it's labeled in the hot tags description as Velveteen Dream in hot water over Instagram private messages.
I would even have it labeled as that. You might see some editing on the fly here, because I would just call it Velveteen Dream controversy.
Might be.
Yeah, and real quick, we're recording this on Sunday. On Sunday, I'm sorry, on Saturday.
Feels like a Sunday,
Friday,
doesn't it?
it was revealed that, or alleged that he's sending explicit
Photos.
pictures, explicit photos of himself to minors, specifically young underage boys.
Now, it's important
Yeah,
to say allegedly. It's important to
allegedly,
say nothing's been
allegedly,
confirmed about anything. Nothing's been
the
100%
only
denied.
official statement put out has been a denial from Dream that he was interacting with these boys. However, he does say the photo is him.
Yeah,
He
so
does,
he seems to at the very least it seems like this is a picture that he's painting that somebody had hacked into his stuff or had somehow come across the photo of him and had been uh, this is tricky waters. So
so the
somehow
idea
somebody
is,
got a hold of this kind of thing and that they're framing him essentially. And that
yeah,
he
the
said that
idea
he's
is
talking
that,
to a third party about how to handle the situation.
which is weird that you're not just saying that you're working with the authorities, but okay. Um,
I think it's kind of telling that WWE hasn't released him yet, but that doesn't mean anything because 10 minutes from now when we're talking, there could be a release. And there's been instances with like the Enzo stuff.
that's the best example of this I can think of. That he was released before the shit even hit the fan.
Yeah.
Like, that's how much confidence, or that, I shouldn't even say confidence they had that he was guilty, but like, that's evidence that the person accusing him went through the serious authority channels to have him released immediately.
And in that situation, there was some backpedaling and everything, but maybe he had gotten released because it was just the straw that broke the camel's back. And maybe Velveteen Dream, they're giving him a little bit more leeway because there weren't instances like that. Or maybe he is released and we just don't necessarily know about it yet. Or maybe this is just total BS and they know that. Or, and it's like, or. There are so many ways to get around this whole situation, and it's hard not to speculate and just run your mouth about a bunch of different options and stuff. But like, I
I don't
think
feel comfortable. We speculate a lot. I don't feel comfortable doing that in this situation only because it is so it is so serious.
right.
Like it is
It's
so, he, to clarify here, he's not, like, this isn't Michael Jackson, like, he touched kindergartners, but it's still sending explicit photos of yourself to somebody underage. And I think that they're saying the person accusing him said he and his friends are like from 15 to 17 each. Now there is a voice recording of somebody
yeah, it may
saying,
not be him. It
"What
might
school
be,
do you go to?"
which could be college.
Right? And like I just I don't know any more details other than he denied it. They're not releasing him, which I think is a good sign. I don't know what this means for his career because we've seen instances like the Seth Rollins thing where his nudes got leaked, and it was just like a month later he's champion because they
Yeah,
understand that these things happen. But in a case like this where your nude gets leaked and it's being alleged that
there's a whole
it's
extra element to it, so
it's
it's
being used in inappropriate communication with a minor,
yeah.
uh,
Then you're in a different situation than Paige's nudes getting leaked and stuff.
which that was handled. I think of all the leaks, that was handled with the most tact from WWE. Like they didn't, you know, release anybody or crap on anybody. It was just like, hey, this horrible thing happened. You know, we're moving on.
Well, remember even like Emma, she had been alleged to have stolen a phone case, and they fired her and then rehired her. Like,
Right, because if there's an actual police report, they will fire you.
well, now there's a thing coming out that Velveteen Dream might have had some kind of a police report about breaking somebody's window in their car.
Fightful broke that. I can talk to you about that. Yeah, he might have gotten arrested in December for smashing somebody's window, and the charges were dropped.
So if that's in that mix, that's one more thing that leads to, well, if you're WWE, you're probably like, you know. I think that the best way for us to word things, at least right now, without knowing more information, is you and I are pretty much on the same page as this. I think we really hope that this is not true.
Correct.
Obviously, for not only Velveteen Dream's career, but also the situation itself, because the less that stuff happens in general, the better that the world is. We hope it's not true. We have no idea whether or not it is. And we're nervously looking at all possible scenarios as being like, this could be something that blows over and it's just one of those things. Or this could be, well, there goes one of the most promising prospects, done forever, and goes to prison and all this other kind of stuff. Like it could be one extreme, it could be the other, or it could be somewhere in the middle. Like it's crazy the variables.
Yeah.
We pretty much had to talk about it on the hot tags because it is like the big story going on right now. But it's just not something that's good to really
It's not
go
comfortable, and
deep
I hope this
dive.
goes
Yeah.
away very soon. I mean, you can do your own social media searches. I don't want to come on here and social media speculate about this stuff. Let's all just hope that it's false.
Best case scenario, some stupid hacker that gets caught.
I mean, I would say, hey guys, stop leaving nudes on your phone. But like, that's just 2020. Like,
Yeah.
people send nudes all the time. What are you gonna do?
I mean, if that wasn't the case, then Snapchat wouldn't be a thing. That's the whole point. It's not like people are doing that for anything other than that.
Can I give you some breaking news? Or not even some breaking news. It's a tweet from WrestleVotes to sharing a text message, I assume on his phone. Bro, what was that Vince shit last night? That is what he's been like the last 2 weeks or so. I'm seeing. I think this pandemic, Mania being canceled, the XFL getting killed, has finally gotten to him. He's at the fuck it part of it all. Screw it, Vince could be wild. Now,
Now
I do
that's a
want to
good
talk.
that's a good transition because
Yeah, I was
another
gonna
hot
say-
tag here is to talk about the content that we've seen this week. We got Raw, we got SmackDown, we got NXT. 205 Live was just a recap thing. They've been doing these things recently where it's like the things that inspired this wrestler. So it's like, here's matches that inspired Arya Davari, whatever. NXT UK
was
is
that
just
any
doing a
good?
recap. I didn't even watch it. Uh, NXT UK I haven't been watching either because that's just like, we're gonna show you the Walter and Tyler Bate match again and like that kind of stuff. So there's no point in watching it.
Let's talk about that real quick. So, it's been reported that they're not going to release anybody. They're, they're safe. And I think that's because there's a lot less fat to trim in that area. But Meltzer also reported that the future of that brand as a whole is uncertain.
Well, we know
I
also that NXT Japan has been put on hold. And I mean, they can't really like expand their, the brand if they can't go and take these flights and stuff like that. But from what I had heard, the NXT UK side of things is weird with the employment status because there's like a whole different furlough process and all that. So they might be getting paid, but they might not be getting paid from WWE necessarily. So that way they can stay employed, but not actually get like all the money that's going in the way. That's confusing. Callum, if you understand this better, let us know.
well,
But
I had
like,
asked him. He was the first person I asked, and like he seemed to not be able to help out too
yeah.
much. But yeah,
But if they get rid of NXT UK,
they won't.
then I got to imagine they're going to at least keep some of the people and just bring them into NXT. But I don't know. We're in weird territory where it's like they could get rid of the brand, but still keep the brand. They could have NXT UK's titles, but have them only defended on NXT. They could have half the roster, but not. Like it's very confusing. What do you think is the likelihood of that scenario?
I think that NXT UK stays. We've literally heard nothing about that and about them potentially taping at the Performance Center in the UK because they do have one, right? I'm not making that up.
No, they do.
I like
So maybe they do that. Like maybe that's how they get around doing it.
we'll get there when we get there, and I think, but I do think that brand is safe.
It'd be kind of weird if they got rid of NXT UK, then they ended up announcing NXT Japan anyway. Just
Okay, it's failed here, but we're
every
going to
couple of years, they
Japan.
just replace it with a new one. Like NXT Japan, 3 years from now goes under, so then they go NXT Mexico. Like, I don't know. They've put enough stock into that they're probably going to try to keep. I mean, they built a performance center over there. It's not as big, but it's still they built a performance center over there. So they're going to have to try to keep this as much as they possibly can. And if they have to get some people's releases in the process and rehire people down the line, I don't know. But at least with the television lately, it hasn't been anything to watch because it's just been recap stuff. So I haven't been watching that. But we do have Raw, NXT, and SmackDown. I guess technically we could talk about Dynamite, but Dynamite's just Dynamite. Different story. Fun shows. Good stuff. Uh, we're totally getting Cody versus Archer in the finals. So, you
Yeah,
know. Let's talk about Raw. We have I think, two people that had qualified for the Money in the Bank. Yeah, Rey Mysterio beat Murphy. Aleister Black beat Austin Theory. And Apollo Crews had beaten MVP.
MVP. So that's the Raw side completely.
Yeah, Baszler beat Indy Hartwell. Nia Jax beat Kyrie Sane. That was a little bit rough in some spots. Cedric and Ricochet beat Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink. How much Shane Thorne and Brendan Vink have we been seeing recently? These dudes
What about
are
Daniel Vidal and Cal Bloom? We're seeing a
Denzel.
lot of performance center guys. Denzel Dejournette.
Yeah,
They're all
Indy
getting used.
Hartwell. Even like she came out of nowhere. These NXT people, they're
Well,
actually getting stuff.
they fired Diana. Tony.
That's true. Caden Carter's been popping up all over the place too. We got three, I
5 women's
think.
matches on Raw. What do you think about that?
What's that?
We had 5 women's matches on Raw.
Wait, one, two. Oh yeah, wow. Wait, no, six, didn't we? Wait, Baszler, Jax, Morgan, Flair, Belair. Okay, it's five.
What do you, that's got to be a record, right?
It might be. We got some of that stuff is like sort of just blah, whatever. There was supposed to be there was a lot of references to Sarah Logan, and there's a
Oh,
lot of
for
things
sure.
going around now that like she may or may not be hired, or she may just be being used.
Fightful heard that she will likely be coming back, but they're also being very playful with like this. Well, technically, we have you for 90 days where you can't go anywhere else, so you might as well come here. Like that's supposedly what they're doing with Maverick.
I want to talk about the Maverick stuff. Let's hop on over to NXT. I mean, we could backtrack to Raw if we need to, but they are using his Twitter video of him crying about being fired as a means to promote this interim championship tournament.
because they have to.
I don't feel comfortable with that.
They have to. They're making the best of a bad situation, and Drake Maverick knows that it's real, and he knows that like this is his opportunity to either impress WWE enough that he's back in no time, or get booked all over the place because right now he's the most sympathetic person within the recent releases.
Like, I don't want these people to lose their jobs, no matter who they are. But there's a couple people that I specifically didn't want to lose their jobs. Like, I think it's shitty of them to release Zack Ryder, for instance. And Drake Maverick, to me, it was just like, oh, come on. Like, why are you firing this guy? You just keep pushing him down or pushing him away or whatever. And, like, that's not fair at all. And I'm
I have a
really
new theory
hoping. What's your
that
theory?
they really did let go of people who at some point expressed, "I want to go somewhere else." Because if you think about it, Drake Maverick has said recently that he wants to get back in the ring. Uh, I almost call him Mike Myers. What the fuck? Mike Kanellis
Yeah.
uh, had asked for his release, and now they released him. Tanara Conchi, I don't even know if you know this, put out a video today
Oh, yeah.
reacting to her release, where
Didn't she
she
say that she was like, they didn't
confirmed.
give me room to grow?
Yeah, but she confirmed I asked to be released 2 months ago.
Like, those make sense.
So like I think it's just that they let go of people who weren't happy anyway. Like they probably knew, yeah, Hawkins and Ryder, go make some money on the indies. Gallows and Anderson, go back to Japan. I feel like that was their mindset now.
For some people, for sure. Like, the Gallows and Anderson thing really felt like they took a lot of effort to try to bring them back and, like, re-sign them because they just didn't want anybody else to have them and not that they actually wanted them. And then now they're at a point where they're trying to cut costs, so it's like, well, you guys are better off in that kinda area, and we're probably not gonna lose that much by losing you anyway. So
I
go
feel
to
like they
Japan and
thought
whatever.
I feel like with Gallows and Anderson, they thought, it'd be super cool to have the Bullet Club. And then, oh shit, we don't want the Bullet Club. It was one of those things where it was like, this might be cool to have, but we don't know what to do with them.
Yeah. But the Maverick
Because
stuff, I know a lot of people are going, "Well, is this all a work?" I don't feel like it is.
it's not. It's not. There have been many reports coming out that it's not a work. They're just trying to make the best of a bad situation.
But I really hope that he just gets re-signed. If that's what he
I think
wants. I mean, he might not necessarily want that, but it seems like that's what he wants.
I think that he will. Whose dream job? I don't give a shit who you are. All right, I don't care who the fuck you are. Your dream job, if you're a weekend warrior, is to go to WWE. It just is, guys. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to be at WrestleMania. You didn't get into wrestling to wrestle the Invisible Man. I don't buy it. So, of course, some people are more honest about that than others, and I think Drake Maverick has been brutally honest about this being his dream job. You know?
Even if he doesn't get rehired, I hope that they give him the interim championship. It would make no sense
It'd
whatsoever,
be dope.
but
He
I
could
would
lose
love it.
to Devlin and then, go wherever he's gonna go.
Yeah. Shit, if you need to, pay him on like a per show basis in the meantime, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that would be so much better. But we had Jake Atlas beat him. Kushida beat Tony Nese, and Phantasma beat Gentleman Jack Gallagher. They also did that thing where the Raul Mendoza and Joaquin Wilde had been abducted recently, and they were trying to abduct Phantasma. He fought them off. That was very strange.
Well, you gotta have a superhero, Tony.
So is that
There,
just like the red herring, and it's like, haha, I actually orchestrated that, and
I
I'm,
don't think so. I think he's gonna be the babyface to Jorge Bali's evil villain mastermind. I don't know what they're
well,
gonna
they're the
do
same
because
guy.
are they?
Yeah.
Well,
So he can't be unless they're doing a McFoley type thing or something.
whoops! I have said that. Like, I don't know. maybe he takes the mask off when it's revealed that he's the guy.
Maybe. We had Keith. This was a weird situation. All right, so Velveteen Dream is supposed to have a match with Finn Balor. They
They
say an
hype it up all
incident
week.
has taken place. Finn Balor's taken out of the match. They set up this idea that the Undisputed Era are attacking. Keith Lee comes to the rescue. Okay, we got a tag team match. It's going to be Adam Cole and Roderick Strong against Velveteen Dream and Keith Lee. At the beginning of the match, Keith Lee gets attacked by Damian Priest, and Keith Lee gets taken out of the match. Then, midway through the match, Dexter Loomis just decides to pop up and join him and be his new tag team partner, and they beat Cole and Strong. So Loomis now, oddly, a babyface? What?
Yeah, I no fucking clue. Zero clue.
Very strange, but I'm
He's
interested.
not a babyface. Like that of all the people who are babyfaces, it's not him.
I'm interested. That's kind of neat. I'm not interested in this Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae we're heels and we're in black and white promo thing. I thought that was crap.
Okay. I look at it like a 97 Brett, where I like what they're saying. I like that they're saying, no, 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 we're right. We are the good guys here. Fuck you. Like, no, we are the good guys. Stop trying to make it like we're the bad guys. But I think Candice, with her whole "I'm a Disney villain now, so I'm gonna dye my hair purple," was kind of weird.
Yeah, and the cup on the table.
Well, what about it? I missed that.
So they, the cup from the whole Candace kicking Johnny in the groin, and it's like,
Oh,
oh,
was
I'm
it
wearing a
just sitting
cup.
on the table?
It was in the center of the table with like one of those domes, as if it was like the centerpiece at a wedding.
Oh, that's gross.
That was
Like,
very strange to me. It was funny in a way that I enjoyed, but it was also like, where are we going here about this? Uh,
that's kind of funny. I missed that completely. I was too focused on like, and they're cutting a promo, and now they're in black and white, and they're mad, but they're also
nah,
eating dinner.
I was trying to look at the food and stuff, and I'm just like, is that the cup?
Yeah, I was too. Like, let's be real here. That steak Harper was eating on Dynamite a few
Oh
weeks ago.
man,
That's a great ass steak. Like that made me want steak. It didn't make me really want chicken and mashed potatoes.
didn't make me want a cup either.
It didn't make me want to wear a cup.
Mia Yim beat Jessica Mia. Somebody a couple weeks ago or so was like, "Oh, Jessica Mia got released," and I'm like, "What? Really? I didn't heard anything about that." I'm glad that
Jessica
that's not the
Mia. Is
case.
that who
Jesse
is that?
Elaban.
Thank you. That's
Yeah,
the name I was looking for.
I like her.
Yeah, she's got that bubbly cuteness to her.
And SmackDown, we had New Day
Trainwreck.
starting off with talking about their 8-time champs. We got Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison, Forgotten Sons. King Corbin qualified for the Money in the Bank. He beat Drew Gulak. Sheamus beat Daniel
Uh
Verdeau.
Real spoiler, that's my pick.
King Corbin.
Yeah.
He's currently my number one pick too. Sheamus beat Daniel Verdeau, and then they're continuing this thing where Sheamus is pissed at Michael Cole.
For being happy about Jeff Hardy. Like
It's so
it,
strange.
it's gonna just lead to Sheamus versus Hardy at the pay-per-view.
Well, I thought at that point, I'm like, oh, okay, they hadn't announced that last qualifying match yet. It's probably going to be Sheamus versus Jeff Hardy. And then later on, they're like, it's Otis versus Ziggler. And I'm like, okay, there you go. So I thought that we were going to get Otis and Mandy versus Sonya and Ziggler as a pay per view match. And I'm assuming it's just going to be Sheamus versus Jeff. So
It will just be another thing, I think Dolph, if Corbin is my number one, Dolph is my number two for some reason. I don't see a new person getting it this year, especially with all the wild uncertainties.
we'll talk about that 2 weeks from now, I think, when we, 2 weeks from now, when we start breaking that down. But we also know that Lacey Evans beat Sasha Banks and she qualified for the Money in the Bank that way. So
Yeah,
there goes
yeah,
my
Ben Williams, shout out to him. Good writer on Smark Out moment. Really put this into perspective for me as a Sasha fan. It was just like in the last few weeks, Sasha has lost to Tamina, Lacey Evans, and I think the other person he said, oh, in the last 2 months, Sasha's lost to Lacey Evans, Tamina, and Dana Brooke. Like, what are they doing here? Has Sasha hit the point of being Ziggler?
well, remember all these times we keep talking about, well, now they're starting this feud with Bailey. It's like, oh, come on. This has been 2.5 years of this. Like, now you can't even have Sasha win Money in the Bank because it's going to be Mandy or Sonya in the other spot. So it's like,
No, it's Mandy or Carmella.
or Mandy or Camilla. Yeah, that's what it was. So I'm kind of assuming maybe Mandy gets in there and Sonya screws her, but I guess we'll see.
I think Sonya screws her next week, and Carmella just goes on to the pay per view.
Yeah, that could be true too. Lucha House Party beat Morrison and Miz. Alexa Bliss and Nikki
Why?
Cross retained the tag titles against Carmella and Dana Brooke.
They did like this version of the 3D, which was just DDT instead of a cutter. And I swear to God, somebody, I thought it was the ref, shouted out 3D. I thought that was the weirdest thing. Like,
I liked
um,
when Carmella didn't realize that the tag had been made and she started trying to pin Alexa, and the ref flat out goes, tag was made, whatever, and she's like, come on, ref, count the pin. And then it's like, because the tag was made, you didn't fucking listen to like, you don't have the noise in the background that'd be like, oh, I
it's a
couldn't
lot
hear it
more
because it's
fun,
the
I think,
arena.
in terms of like the referees and stuff. They feel more important now that you don't have the noise of the people.
But it exposes how stupid it is because it's like you didn't mean to hear that he had said that. He clearly said that, and you clearly heard the tag, and you can clearly hear that Dickie Cross is coming over to you.
I would like it if her boyfriend, Corey Graves, just went, she tagged!
Yeah,
Like,
babe,
ah,
turn
babe,
around.
tag! Like,
That'd be great if
what do
they
you
did
think
that at
about
some
Corey
point. Like if
Graves?
somebody comes down and tries to like interfere, like let's say like Dana Brooke costs Carmella her match. There would be no reason for it, but like just to say that. And if like Carmella's wrestling Mandy next week and Dana Brooke comes down and Corey just goes, Dana Brooke's here, she's gonna attack you. That'd be great.
What do you think about Corey Graves saying, I think it was like on an Instagram Live or something, that he feels like a panda in captivity in the sense that he's not even interested in mating because they've just been home too long? And
I don't
he's
understand what's wrong with him about that because I've had completely the opposite idea with Caroline.
well, to be fair, you don't usually live with her to begin with, I guess. Maybe that's it. But she was like, thanks, babe. Like, like, asshole. I kind of don't feel as pretty now or something. I just thought that was so funny. Like, he basically just went out there being like, yeah, I haven't had the urge to have sex with you as much. Like,
That's weird. You know what's even weirder though? This might be our final topic. Triple H Appreciation Night. So Triple H comes out. He does this. He's getting ready to do his spitting the water thing, and some guy comes over with wearing a mask and tells him no. I thought that was really funny. And Shawn Michaels interrupts.
good.
HBK starts cracking some jokes, talking about like, "Hey, you remember my 25th anniversary? Huh?" And it's like, well, because I didn't
I
have one.
I thought Hunter was gonna spin that back around at him and go, "Yeah, that happened in like 1998. What do you want about, Joe?"
Right?
Like
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't spin it back at him. But I thought it was funny with the whole, if you're not down with that, I got two words for you: social distancing. Get away from me. Like it was just like, look at these two dorks. They're just being dorks
They're
in an
totally
arena
dorking
full of
out.
nobody.
And they're I liked when Hunter, not when Hunter, when Michaels is like, everything was great until you met her. And she was just this buzzkill and "Meh, meh, meh, don't do this, don't do that." Like Stephanie calls up and all that. I thought that was great. I thought it was funny how Ric Flair calls up and then they do the whole thing where it's like, "Oh, he's crying."
And then he calls back crying. But I can't believe this took 25% of the show.
Yeah. This happens at, like, 9:30, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, "Did they announce another match that I'm forgetting about? Like, is this gonna be, like, a 10-minute segment and then they're gonna have another match? Because what?" And then I'm like, "No, this is the end of the night. Okay, wow, this is kinda weird. Where are they gonna go with here?" And then
And
it's like Road Dogg
Road Dogg
calls up.
yeah, he looks like he's fucking Santa Claus. What the hell is with that beard?
Yeah, he does not look like Road Dogg. And that was weird, but it was funny because he's just sorta like, "Yeah, Brian, get," and he
And he's just talking about
shuts
butt
off.
because it's like, shut up, Road Dogg. You're still
Yeah.
Road Dogg. Shut up.
But out of all the strange things, Vince McMahon comes out. Now, keep in mind, everybody, Vince McMahon has said nothing on the show. He has made no
He didn't even
appearance,
show up at WrestleMania.
not at WrestleMania, not at the Performance Center tapings, nothing. And he pops up to go, "Oh, you're fucking boring. Remember the gobbledygooker?" And I'm like, what the fuck am I watching?
I wanted us to do this last night because I would have been so like I would have rambled on about it because I was just like, what the fuck is this? He's just going, yeah, yeah, Paul, congratulations, and I would have given you a hug, and Sean, we would have done the elbow thing, but this sucks. I mean, God, you guys are the worst. Do you remember It's Your Life Daily? God, this is worse than that.
The
Do you remember?
gobbledygooker, and I thought that we were gonna have this whole big thing, and it didn't get cheers, and it didn't get boos, it was just silence, and I'm like, "Are you, like, going down this rabbit hole of just, like, all these other extra thoughts?" Like, is that like the stream of consciousness thing where I would be like, I'm gonna review SmackDown and just be like, "You know what's really good? Tacos are really good. I really like it
Like,
when a tacos or
that must
whatever,
be
but my favorite
what
TV
people
show is
hear.
actually, like."
That must be what people hear when they hear us normally doing the hot tags at 2 a.m. on a Monday. Like, yeah, so steak is delicious, and pizza, and oh yeah, there's also wrestling. Because what the fuck was this? He goes, oh yeah, and Katie Vick. So my son-in-law is naked in a church, and there's a mannequin, and oh, that was awful, and I can't believe we stooped to those depths. Oh, by the way, wrap it up.
Yeah, I love you. And I had this split second where when he was saying like, "Now I just want to say whatever like that. This is a good
I thought
time
he
to
was gonna
say."
say, "Look up," and then
I
they're gonna
Yeah,
dump shit on him.
I thought three different things. I thought Vince standing the way that he was, they were going to dump shit on him like DX, and that was going to be like, "Oh well, I'm going to get you back for you saying all these bad things about me." Number two, I thought that he was going to do that to them, like you just said. And number three, I was like, is this like a roast type thing where it's like he's gonna say these things, which I don't even know, they're not even really a roast because he's talking about the gobbledygooker and all that. And that at the end, what he's gonna say now is like as good a time as any to say for the 25th anniversary or whatever, you have more control or some kind of like real passing the torch type thing. And instead, he's just gonna like shut off the fucking lights. All right, see you later. And I'm like,
It was just like I loved it. It was I think I said in the Fightful chat, I'm like, full blown dementia Vince is amazing.
Caroline says to me, "Are you done? Like done work?" And I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Is that the end of SmackDown? It's 9:57. I guess so.
And
Like,
you had the same reaction I did. I was just like, all right, he's gonna say look up and they're gonna dump shit on him and I got you back. Because they did do the thing where they looked back at some bloopers from DX where like things that you don't even see of like the election speech, and they can't even get out a proper sentence, and the Nitro invasion where the thing doesn't fire off, and I'm just like, okay, are we just gonna dump on Triple H? But no, we just you're I love you. Wrap it up. Okay. It's like this. It was also this really weird moment because, like, you could tell Vince is being serious when he says "I love you," and Triple H just like they stop laughing for a second. And he goes, "I love you too," and then it's just, yeah, okay, wrap. Done now.
Yeah. It goes very well with the theme of what's been happening recently. What the fuck is 2020?
Like, I had said something privately, and you'll know what I'm talking about. I'm not gonna say it on the air about what I think the future is for Vince McMahon, and that segment confirmed it for me even more. Like, too much stress, man.
It's all crazy, and I feel like by the next hot tags, whenever that is, who knows what we're gonna be talking about. But our game plan as far as next week goes is potentially to do call the spot on the card, which I don't know how we're gonna do that necessarily. We might try to do it based off of the idea of the Otis and Ziggler things, like and Mandy and Carmella. Like, well, what do we do? What if it's one person? What if it's the other person? Maybe that's how we do it. Maybe we actually do the hot tags on Wednesday and get a little bit back to normal and something closer to that, and wait and do call the spot on like Saturday. Maybe we do something else. I don't know. We'll let you know when we know more. But at some point, you're getting 2 podcasts next week, maybe more, depending on the circumstances. And if we don't do Call the Spot and we do something else, maybe we'll do that Wednesday. Either way, we know next week's whatever it is, and then the following week is Money in the Bank predictions, and then we'll continue on at that point. So if you are subscribed to the YouTube channel, you will be aware of when things go up, when they go up. And if you follow us on Facebook and Twitter at SmarkOutMoment, or you follow the RSS feed on smarkoutmoment.com, or any of the other things like that, things will happen, and we'll see when it happens. But I did most of my other plugs. I'll do a couple more in a moment. Give Rob a chance to plug some of his things as well.
We mentioned Fightful a couple times here. I do write for Fightful over the weekends. I would encourage you all to subscribe to Fightful Select if you have a few extra pennies. You get a lot of good breaking news. You get a lot of fun podcasts. I think it's a worthwhile investment. You can also check out the WrestleZone Daily podcast, which I am on Monday through Thursday, and just continue supporting everything I'm doing and follow me on Twitter and Instagram at DudeFelice.
One thing that I did not mention, we're random. One thing I did not,
Then, now, and what, Tony?
yeah. Then, now, and merchandise. T-Public and Redbubble. Check them out. Fanboys Anonymous, A Mango Tees, and Smark Out Moment. Pick up a t-shirt or any of the other types of merchandise for all the different designs that are out there. And if you have any other design ideas you'd think that would be pretty interesting for me to do, let me know, and I'll try to do it. And I mentioned the Fanboys Anonymous stuff, so check that out. I mentioned Patreon, so even if you donate $1 for the month, it is extremely appreciated. And the more people that donate $1, the better when it comes to doing more content and not having to do content for other stuff that I've got going on. So if you and plenty of other people donate $1 a month for Smark Out Moment, you get a lot more Smark Out Moment content. Same thing for Fanboys Anonymous. And that's also a little bit of the ad block forgiveness and stuff. So yeah, keep that in mind if you got the spare change. Facebook and Twitter I already talked about. YouTube I already talked about. So if you want to follow anything else that's going on under a mango tree or elsewhere, like Bleacher Report or eWrestling News, just keep following me at Tony Mango on Facebook and Twitter. And we will see you when we see you next time, everybody. But thank you for listening to this one. This has been another Smark Out Moment, and we're being counted out.